Feeling fatigued? Are you tired? Are you exhausted? So, do you have a general lack of energy? Hello, everyone. My name is Chris with One Be Healthy Life, and today we're going to talk about fatigue. Fatigue, fatigue, fatigue. I almost hate that word. I don't know. It reminds me of PMS, actually. It reminds me of the word PMS. It's used as an excuse or reason for every single thing. And when we get into what fatigue is, we're going to break it down and then we're going to level it out, and then we're going to give some suggestions on how to get rid of fatigue. And I guess my question today is, why are so many of us being treated for fatigue? I mean, fatigue is a symptom, not a condition. So you're treating us for a symptom, not a condition. So if you have, I don't know, let's say a cold and you sneeze, the doctor doesn't give you a medication for sneezing. He gives you a medication for the cold, which is the condition. The sneeze is the symptom. So if fatigue is a symptom and not a condition, then what are we being treated for? So for many, fatigue is caused by a combination of things, including myself. Lifestyle, social, psychological, any general well-being issues, and underlying medical conditions. Because again, if you have a medical condition, some of the symptoms would be fatigue. And however, they treat you for fatigue. So I'm kind of confused here. So maybe somebody can shed some light on this with me today. But essentially, fatigue is considered a secondary result of another factor. So we've already established that. I mean, it's not just because you're on a medication or you're drowsy. I mean, it could be mental, physical, or even a combination of both. Fatigue is a feeling. So a lot of us have the same symptoms. So you have symptoms with fatigue, even though fatigue is a symptom. So, I mean, it's exhaustion, it's burnout, lack of energy, and anybody can be affected by this. And generally, it's in most adults. Not saying that children can't have it, but for the most part, we're going to go as a whole. And I believe that adults mostly carry fatigue. And pretty much it's like, well, what the fuck is fatigue? I mean, I've lived my whole life and I've had a lot of these symptoms throughout my life and I've never labeled it. So now that I've labeled it, so basically today I went to my RA doctor, my rheumatoid arthritis doctor. And even though I visit 3 times a year, I'll just tell you that I have, so they're saying I have it, levels in my blood, that I show rheumatoid arthritis in my body. I was diagnosed with it 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, I was going through a divorce. I was a hot mess. I probably wasn't caring for myself like I should have. And I was dealing with a lot of stress in my company and divorce and yada, yada. But anyway, I was diagnosed with it and I will not take medication. I'm sorry. I am not one that can take a Tylenol. I will hurtle down. I will take that pain. I don't care. But I do not want to be dependent on anything. And I don't want the modern Western medicine taking care of me like that. I believe in other means to be healed. So my right arm, I think it's carpal tunnel because I spend quite a bit of time and most of my life has been with my right arm on the computer in that position. I have tried all different ways to manipulate the mouse on the pad without, hurting my arm. And, my arm was like a hot mess a couple years ago. So after extensive research and, going back to the doctor a couple times over the last couple years, she's like, "Oh, you're doing better. You're doing better." And I'm like, "But I'm not taking your medicine. I'm not taking your medicine." And it kills me because she writes prescriptions, this host of prescriptions, methotrexate and prednisone and steroids, and she wants to give me shots on my arm, and I'm like, no, no, no. And she gave me this other shot, Humira, and she gave me one in the office. She forced me to take it in the office, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this woman she's a drug pusher, and I just wasn't having it. So the side effects would far outweigh the side effect of the rheumatoid arthritis in my arm. And that is very common in medication is what are you exchanging for the other? And I refuse to do that. And I also refuse to just succumb to this modern world of whatever it is they're feeding. And that includes my food too. So there we go back to One Be Healthy Life. I am healthy. I am extremely healthy. I've been healthy for most of my life. And whatever I'm doing, it's working. And whatever other people are doing that aren't healthy, they've achieved that. They're working on not being healthy. That's working. And while I'm not here to bash anybody for not being healthy, but an unhealthy lifestyle will cause fatigue. So I was in her office today. I had my labs work done, and she's like, "Oh, everything is fine," and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "So should we just continue on your medication?" And I looked at her and I said, I don't take your medication. She said, "Well, just tell me about what's going on with you right now." And I said, "Well, I feel a little tired. I know I'm not sleeping." And I really did. I just kind of, I guess, gave her about 3 minutes of how I've been feeling. And she turns around and she says, "Oh, you have fatigue." Like she wanted to diagnose me with something today. And I know we're all more exhausted in life more than ever. And really, it doesn't appear in any way that it's going to let up anytime soon. So if you're feeling exhausted right now, we have to pull together and figure out how the hell to fix this, because I'm not alone. And it's not because I'm unhealthy. And it's not because I'm going down a rabbit hole. And it's not because I'm so overstressed or whatever. I think it's just the world today, the energy that is brewing. And I am a big energy burner. Oh my gosh. I believe in positive or negative. You can only have one or the other in your body and in your mind and in your life at one time. And I choose positive at all times. Not saying that there isn't a negative thought that comes through my mind once in a while, but between my grounding and meditating and my stones and whatever it is I have to will from my body, I will do it. Positive energy. But I feel that heaviness when I go out into public. I feel that ickiness, that weight on me that other people are carrying. Like I can feel somebody's negative energy, and you all can experience that in your own way. But I know you have more than once. I know that you can be standing and you're saying, I can pick him out. He's no good, or he's a bad egg, or that guy's creepy, or this girl's this, or whatever. And you understand what I'm saying by that. But we are carrying this energy around us. And I think it's what's causing us to be exhausted. And again, it's not going to let up anytime soon. And, we suffer from a decreased productivity, and society is creating that for us. They are trying to beat us down. And I hate using "they are" because I don't know really who they are. I mean, it could be politicians, it could be government, it could be, workers. I don't know who it is that's controlling us. I mean, media is not real. I mean, a lot of it is not real. Social media is real to an extent. I mean, when you see these crazy things that are going on, 9 chances out of 10, that is happening. And we get to see all these things all over the world, and we get to see them from people other than NBC, ABC, and that type of thing where they doctor it. We're seeing real live videos. And right now, especially over the last couple of weeks, we have been hit. Our country has been brutally beat up by Mother Nature. And, and of course, there's a lot of speculation on whether or not Mother Nature is being manipulated by space, government, science, yada yada. And whether it be true or not, the fact is, yes, that it is happening. Can we do anything about it? Not while we're battling a storm, we can't. But there's a decreased productivity. We are all lacking creativity anymore. We don't even know how to be and forget about any enthusiasm. I went to my grandson's football game a couple Sundays ago, and I'm sitting in the bleachers, and I'm like the only loudmouth grandmother standing up with a bunch of 10-year-olds running around, making a million little touchdowns and just going crazy. And everybody's just looking at me like, what's her deal? And I thought, you know, dude, where's your enthusiasm? Like, cheer these people on. They don't know what's going on yet. They're not poisoned by society yet. So, but I think those things play a huge part on us as far as, what we're feeling like. I mean, the election has a lot to do with this. It's ugly. The weather is ugly. The economy is ugly. Our budget is ugly. And there's nothing worse than trying to feed a family on half of the money that you used to spend, just a very short time ago. But, again, we're going to go back to fatigue, because fatigue is not permanent. And it's basically, a feeling of things that affect us when we're running on empty. And, as time goes on, you know, it just gets worse and worse and worse if you don't nip it in the bud. And I can't I can't stress enough that everybody has this overwhelming urge to sleep. Everybody I talk to says, I just want to sleep. I'm not getting enough sleep. And that, and I will speak to a lot of people on the Be Healthy lifestyle. We have a group on Facebook, Be Healthy Lifestyle, and I get a lot of questions as, why am I so tired? Like, what the heck is this? Like, I don't even do anything all day. I don't want to get out of bed. And I'm guilty of it as well. And I think I spoke that today in the doctor's office, and that's what led her. She says, why aren't you sleeping? I said, I don't know, because I'm sitting up all night on my iPad, my laptop, watching these horrible events that are taking place in our own backyard, that I can't help these people. And I feel helpless about the animals. I feel helpless about the people losing their home. I try to identify with it. I can't even imagine. Like, we can't even, as a whole, I'm in Arizona, and these are happening on the East Coast, and I can't even fathom what that's like. But when we have monsoons here, people will always call me up, and they basically, care for what I'm going through. I mean, this past monsoon, this past summer, a lot of my house got destroyed from it, but it wasn't where I was it wasn't inhabitable, but it was enough destruction that it cost me a pretty penny, and it pissed me off, and maybe that caused my fatigue. I don't know. But anyway, the sleep um, issue is probably number one, because it doesn't allow you to be refreshed. It doesn't allow you to think on your feet. It doesn't allow you to regroup. And a lot of people don't even know they're having fatigue. They just can't put their finger on it. That's why I said in the beginning, it reminds me of PMS, because it wouldn't even be, and I'm talking back in the day now, people, I'm 60 years old, so we don't go that way anymore. But back in the day when I did go through my cycle, I would be a little irritable, I would admit. But even on the weeks that I wasn't on it, people would accuse you of it. So you weren't even allowed to have any kind of like mood for a second without anybody accusing you of it. And it just used to always piss me off. But anyway, a lot of people right now, in the questions that I've been asking, I'm under the assumption now that I have a definition of what she is telling me I have, now I can fix myself, because I only need doctors to tell me what they think, and then I take it for what I think it might be worth. I do extensive research on my own, and then I blast it out there for other people and their thoughts and opinions, because who better to talk to than people themselves? Go to the source. And, and I will get to the part about the doctor after she diagnosed me with this. So depression, she asked me about depression. I said, I'm not a depressed person. I get depressed. I mean, and I won't even say it's even considered depressed, because I do know the difference between a person who is chronically depressed, and somebody that just has a lack of desire to do any kind of activities. So, I mean, I've been divorced for a couple years now, and while um, that other person, we won't even give it a name, has, well, did quickly move on. Okay. And then it's not that it bothered me. I think it just felt a little uncomfortable in the beginning for me. But of course, my laughter became more like, you know, louder as time went on, because, he moved on and I did not. But I didn't not move on. I chose to be out of the relationship and not move on for my own self. And it was an excellent decision, in my opinion, for me. And but anyway, so people accuse me now of not wanting to do things, and maybe I do have a little bit of a lack of activity presence in my, my thoughts, because I don't feel like doing anything. I like being home. I like doing my shows. I like, working my business, and I like helping people. I have been helping so many people on their weight loss journey, and I have been helping people with just trying to get their shit together and get healthy again. Because like I say, healthy is about strength, and once you're strong, that is powerful. I want people to be powerful, and I've never gotten so much gratification out of something, and I want to continue it, and I plan to grow with it. But she also told me that one of the main things with fatigue is trouble focusing. And because I jumped from one subject to the other in the doctor's office today, she accused me of not concentrating. And of course, I laughed louder today at her. So, depression, I don't have. Maybe a lack of desire. I don't see myself getting in any relationships in any near future. That's another podcast, because let me tell you, the pickings out there, I'm sure they're equally thin on both sides. Men are probably looking at, us as crazy, and we're looking at them as crazy, and who cares? My only thing at 60 is a man 60. Yeah, no, I need a man younger, because they can't keep up with me emotionally, physically, or mentally. But anyway, so I don't have trouble concentrating. And obviously, I just proved that point to you guys. So, what is fatigue? Okay, so it is being tired, it is being a little depressed, it is having trouble focusing and concentrating, low energy or motivation. Okay, and nervousness and anxiety, or being just irritable. So somebody pisses you off at work, and you're in the car driving home, and you get home and the house is a mess, and the kids didn't pick up from themselves all day, and the dishes are still in the dishwasher, and nobody did the laundry that you asked, the dog shit on the floor. I mean, of course you're going to be irritable. That's just everybody around you pissing you off. So, and then I don't know, you're looking at your weight because you don't have time to eat, because you're taking care of all this other stuff around your house. And, so you become depressed, and you don't feel like doing anything because you work so hard, and you can't concentrate because you got a million things on your plate, and you don't have any motivation to do anything because everything's so damn expensive out there. I can justify every single, um, you know, symptom that they're giving of what symptom is of fatigue. So is fatigue a real thing? I don't know. I'm challenging this today. So she also asked me, she said, oh, your legs hurt, and is your body tired, and are you stiff, and are you impatient? And I thought, if you pick up any prescription med and you laid 5 different meds down on the table, every one of them have like 10 items that you will have the same symptoms of taking that medication. So there's always this, of course I feel stiff. I'm 60 years old. And of course I work out every day of some sort. And sometimes it's aggressive, for a body that's old. I got a 60-year-old body here. And as much as I take care of it, I'm tired at night, and my body will ache sometimes. And I do get stiff shoulders because I'm sitting at the darn computer all day. And do I get impatient? We all get impatient, especially now we get impatient. So I'm not alone, people. I know I'm not alone. But fatigue is and can be temporary, but it also can be chronic. And that to me shouldn't be called fatigue, even though it has a lot of the same symptoms they're saying, because your lifestyle contributes to having, being fatigued. And number one, a poor diet. And at Be Healthy, we want a healthy diet. And that is why we have our whey protein, because the whey protein is, it's over 20 grams of protein, and there's no sugar in it, so it can't make you crazy, and it only has 110 calories, and we help give you a million variations as to drinking it. It satiates you so you don't overeat, so it helps you be healthy, gives you support in trying to restructure whatever diet it is that you're on that's making you unhealthy. Alcohol, drugs, stress, and stress can be a lot of things. Stress can be, anything from having to have a surgery or a death of somebody or a monsoon or a hurricane or something. Of course, that's given on a stress thing. Burnout is you're just doing way too damn much. And then divorce, that's on my list. That made me laugh. Jet lag. I don't have jet lag. I wish I could have fatigue from jet lag right now. I'd be on a plane to Italy or something. But unfortunately, I don't have fatigue from jet lag. So I'm going down this list she printed out for me. And then, of course, I did about 2.5 to 3 hours today of research on this and kept coming back to the same thing. It's a simple thing. We're going to fix this today because I plan on fixing hers. I won't see her until next year, but if at all, if I choose to. I don't know. She might find something else wrong with me. I think she's mad because she has nothing on me. But of course, if you have any infections in your body, and I'm talking Lyme disease, HIV, any kind of COVID, stuff like that, that will give you fatigue. Of course that will. That's a given. See, so to me, fatigue should be a result of something like that, not something like, oh my God, my grocery order was $80 more than it should be, or these kids are a pain in my neck, or this dog is just not potty trained, that kind of thing. Or my clothes don't fit me right because I eat at McDonald's every day because I make poor choices of food. So I think fatigue doesn't belong to a certain group of us, and I'm going to be on that group. But mental health conditions. So depression, anxiety, and absolutely PTSD. I studied PTSD when I worked at the VA hospital. I worked with a lot of PTSD patients. And while the word fatigue didn't float around a lot with them, it was other words that they used. And then, of course, they would medicate them up. And then all of that anxiety and all that stuff would go away. But as soon as it wears off, then, of course, they became fatigue. And just I don't know. Autoimmune disorders. So that's where I am in, because you have your lupus and your MS and your rheumatoid arthritis and your type 2 diabetes and your fibromyalgia. You're dealing with these other pains of an autoimmune disorder. Be healthy lifestyle. Absolutely. The AIP diet I follow. You have to know what foods trigger your autoimmune disease. And foods can heal you. I am a product of that. And I have a lot of friends of mine that I have acquired through time to prove that as well. So it's not just my, story on that. I have a lot of other people's stories that we have worked together to cure with food. And once I learned that, it was too simple. And when I had brought it to her, I think it was even the last time I went back in the spring to her, to my RA doctor, and I brought up these things. She just went, "Oh, rubbish." And I thought, "Oh, rubbish. Rubbish what? Food?" And she's like, "Well, what they do to food nowadays is just, it destroys you, and it's not going to." And I thought, okay, but that's not nightshades and, certain foods that make my body have inflammation. I mean, there are a lot of studies with that, but I don't want to go down that road right now. But you can reach out to me on our group, or you can email me, and I will link that below after the podcast, and you can get in touch with me and ask me about the AIP, the autoimmune protocol, because it absolutely will control a lot of that. So I was told once that I was anemic because I was always cold. And while my blood really didn't show that, they can't figure out why I'm cold. But that's why I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, because I have been in a constant chill growing up. And I don't know. I think it's just my body. I think I just hated it. I actually believe I suffered from a seasonal disorder, and it wasn't really a thing. But just lately, I've been seeing it pop up, and I'm thinking, well, why didn't they address this when I lived back east? Nobody believed me that when I started to see clouds or rain, I became depressed. And, you know, that's why I lived in a tanning bed so much that I opened up a tanning salon when I lived back east, so that I can tan all year and help people that had the same seasonal disorder, that they can tan at my tanning salon. So, well, that's just a little story there I wanted to share, but there you go. So if you have a deficiency in vitamin D and vitamin B12, or if you are dehydrated, and the saddest part about anybody that I hear when they say they're dehydrated, it cracks me up, because the one thing we do have in this world that's free, I think it's the only thing that's left besides air, but actually good air we still have to pay for. And oxygen is considered some type of breathing, so that's air. We still pay for that too. So, but water. So if you're dehydrated, you got no excuse for that. And honest to God, dehydration, you can nip that fast. I mean, you can take a dog out of being dying from parvo, because that is what happens, is they dehydrate and die from dehydration because of the disease that's eating in their stomach, the parasites, because that's what the parvo is. And I've had a dog that I basically brought from death to life, and the 129-pound Rottweiler runs around here like nothing even happened, but put me in 8 days of constant, oh my God, I slept on the floor with this dog. But I had to rehydrate him, and I had to do it every couple of hours, and I was very consistent. I saved his life because of it. So dehydration is a deficiency that causes fatigue. So you might say, I don't have one of these symptoms. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I'm a little dehydrated. So I started measuring my water today when I got home from the doctor's this morning, because maybe she's diagnosing me on a list of things. So I want to know what all of the symptoms are for having fatigue. And then I can determine from my own body and my own path as to what it is. I don't have an eating disorder. I'm not anorexic. I'm not bulimic. I'm not obese. I don't have a vitamin D deficiency. I don't have, the only thing I have is RA, if they want to call it that, but I don't suffer from it. So, but that's not what's causing my fatigue. I don't have anything. My blood work isn't showing that. So, what is the care and treatment? What are we going to do about this fatigue? Anybody out there that has fatigue is listening to me right now, and they're saying, you know what, I've had some of these symptoms you're talking about. So now that I know that it's chronic, or it's a condition, or it's a medical disorder, now I have to fix the medical disorder. Can I do that without medication? I do. I'm not telling everybody to get off their meds and figure something out, but maybe you should try to figure something out and then wean yourself off. The first thing she wanted to do today was put me on Wellbutrin. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is an antidepressant. I can't tell you enough, like the steam that was going out of my ears and eyeballs when I was looking at her. And she knows I am anti-medical treatment with medication. And she's like, I'm gonna put this to your pharmacy. And of course, my pharmacy this afternoon sends me a little text message saying, please come pick up your prescription. And I'm like, no, you just wasted your own time filling that order, so send it back. So yeah, she's a pusher. They're an enabler. They just want to sell those drugs. I don't know what the hell their objective is, but I want to fix this a healthy way. I want to fix it the real way, the old fashioned way, call it anything you want. But anybody that's suffering from fatigue, irritability, any of that basic stuff, we can talk about that right now, because maybe my sleep is a little off. So I'm going to practice for the next couple days a different sleep pattern. I'm going to stop watching these TikToks and reels and stuff like that on TV, YouTube, and watching the TV for all of the horrible things that my heart is just bleeding over. I'm just so sad and so sorry. And I just pray all the time some that it just stops. That's all I'm going to say. And if they could just have some peace for a moment. So I'm going to stop that. I'm going to change my sleeping habits, and then I'll set my alarm in the morning, because normally I do not. And I don't have to worry about alcohol or cigarettes or anything like that. As far as eating healthy, it says a balanced diet. So a lot of people can justify a balanced diet. But I think we pretty much know what that is. And it's not a modern diet. It's not fast food. It definitely has to have, 3/4 of vegetables and fruits in your food, intake. You have to implement at least 3/4 of your food throughout the day. Protein shakes. And if you do eat meat or fish or anything like that, then have that. But I think you just basically have to stay away from the salt and the sugar, lots of caffeine, no sodas, and junk food, candy, anything like that. So I think, when somebody says a balanced diet, just you're going to have to lay it out. You're going to have to lay it out and just do that. But water, hydration was like number one on all of the research that I did for the last couple hours. I'm telling you, water was like number one. Being hydrated is going to kick you out of that fatigue, and managing your stress. So I'm not a yoga person. I am mindfulness, and I do meditate. I do exercise regularly every day. So a couple years back, I got into this habit by this one gentleman, and Larry North was his name. And I think he's still around. I haven't followed him or seen him, but at one time I followed his program back in the early 2000, and I lost a shit ton of weight, probably like 45 pounds. And I did it like in a month and a half. It was amazing. And I had bought this program from him. Anyway, so he taught me how to exercise throughout the day for 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And I didn't have, the resources we have now with our iPhones next to us, where we can set alarms. So during the day, I set 5 alarms for myself on my phone. And those alarms will go off. And when I'm in my house, I have Alexa that I set alarms with her. And she will tell me, she sets off an alarm, and then I name the alarms. And then I just usually will jot down whatever it is. But it reminds me to get the hell up and to do 15 minutes of something, or 10 minutes of something, or stretch, or, I'll do, challenge myself to do 20 sit-ups, or just walk around the yard. And if I walk around my yard with 3 large Rottweilers, trust me, after I'm done with the ball, my arm, everything is killing me. So I'm like, I far exceed the 10 minutes I was supposed to do, but it was fun. I loved it. It's great for them, and I get air, and it's great. But Larry North taught me how to break up that day. And at the end of the day, I do an hour of really good exercise. And for me, and this isn't, if I want to walk or something else, so be it. But I'm talking about just as a regular habit. And I do this all the time. I've been doing it for so many years that it is a habit. And, and it balances me out. I used to do it at work all the time. But anyway, managing your stress with exercise, meditation, yoga, anything like that. And exercise is crucial in any healthy lifestyle. So I can't emphasize that enough. And I don't have to preach about that. But honest to God, some kind of exercise, even if it takes you 20 minutes to vacuum your house, and I'm talking vacuum your house, do it. It's an exercise, and count that in your hour of exercise every day. If you are overweight, figure something out as to how you're going to lose some weight. If you got to lose it, you got to lose it. Just figure out a way to lose that weight, because if you don't, you're going to be sorry. We are here at Be Healthy to help with any of these things that you think you might suffer from. because we can cure it. The only one true thing, eating a healthy diet, getting regular exercise, but the only one true thing is the hydration. And of course, if you're hydrating yourself, you're going to feel better and you'll get motivated. I mean, I can be all the motivated I want inside my little kingdom here. I don't need to go out or date or anything like that. So that doesn't make me not motivated. Okay. So I am. So, anyway, I would like to challenge everybody to, swap out that soda, drink more water, have a goal for yourself for at least 1 week, because I can follow up with this podcast and I would love to hear somebody's story. And, so if you're listening to my podcast and you did the fatigue challenge, because you might be feeling a little of it, okay? So if you are feeling a little of it and you want to challenge yourself because of any of the things we talked about, whatever you feel that you fall under that criteria, nip it in the bud. And, this is all about being healthy. Be healthy, to be healthy. Because if you could be anything, seriously, if anybody asked you that question, if you could be anything, the first thing out of your mouth should be to be healthy. Whether you are or not, or think you are or not, it doesn't matter, but to be healthy. So it keeps me on point. It keeps a lot of you on point. And the purpose of our broadcast is to identify, a lot of these problems in our journey to being healthy and to fix things. I'm a work in progress all the time. I think we all are, and I don't mind. I don't know. How far am I from perfect? What can I say? And I mean, this broadcast and Be Healthy, it helps to fix things so we can all become a better version of ourselves, because every day I strive to do that. And I don't want to beat myself up every day saying, where I'm striving for perfection. No, I'm striving for a better version of myself. If I make a stupid mistake one day, I promise you, I am not going to make that mistake again. I mean, I know I have made a few mistakes in the past, maybe once, twice, or 3 times. I didn't learn from them, but it involved other people, and I felt more sorry than anything. But as far as eating junk food and getting sick from it, I can learn from that. I'm a better version of myself doing stuff like that. So every day we have to show up for ourselves and we have to show off our health and absolutely, show off anything you do, whether you lose a pound or you got rid of fatigue or you drank 10 waters today, reward yourself and tell people about it. And people look at you like, so what? You know what? So what you? So I want to thank everybody for joining in on me today, in with me. And please, if you like our broadcast, I ask that you please share it. And please, if anyone may be suffering from any of the symptoms that we discussed today, or if you know anybody that was diagnosed with a symptom called fatigue, then maybe this broadcast can help them, because I am all about helping other people, and we are all about helping each other. And I thank you for joining our podcast. If you would like to join our health group on Facebook, it is Be Healthy Lifestyle. And of course, Chris Whitty, you can CRISSEWITTE. That is how you spell my name. I am on Facebook, and you can jump on to our BeHealthySupplements.com, and you can look on our website for that. Facebook, you can find me, our Be Healthy Lifestyle Facebook group. There's a million ways. One Be Healthy Life is our podcast. I am Chris, and I hope that you see us again next time. All of you, I hope you stay safe and be healthy, and let's get rid of that fatigue, okay? One Be Healthy Life. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.